Good morning, beautiful people. Y'all probably don't know what time of the day it is, but I'm tapping back in with y'all. Yesterday was wild. As far as productivity, had a great productive day yesterday. Towards the end of my work day, I got a phone call from my brother, and I'm like, this man don't ever just call me, you know what I'm saying? Especially in the middle of the day. But some part of me wish I was more grateful for the call, because maybe it would have been good news, right? So I couldn't answer the call. Then, he texted me that my dad was, passed out or something like that. So I was literally in the middle of working, so I had to call my wife, call him, see what's going on. But long story short, and she told me that he was, my dad was headed to the hospital or whatever. So long story short, as I'm wrapping up at work and trying to get ready to head to the hospital, it brought back some memories, and we've been talking about, just the transition of my life on here. This is kind of just going to be a story today or whatever, kind of like a pause situation, but it kind of includes into what I've been talking to y'all about. So subscribe, share, all of that. Go back and see just how I'm breaking down to y'all the transition of my life, the mental health, all of this that I'm telling y'all. It all kind of ties in, you know what I'm saying? But back to the story. As I'm headed to the hospital, it reminds me of when my dad went into cardiac arrest. You know what I'm saying? Story, it was New Year's Eve, or now New Year's Day, actually. This is like the beginning of me and my wife relationship, all together. And I spent New Year's Eve into New Year's Day with her. I left there, headed home to my mom and dad or whatever. And I walked in, and my mom sounded distressed, right? And she was also on the phone with 911, and she's like, come help me with your dad, da, da, da. So it was just interesting, that I walk in, right when that's going on. So I go upstairs, 911 telling us what to do, all this extra stuff. I'm giving him CPR because I've done that before, or I've been to the classes. That was actually the first time I ever had to use it in a real moment. So basically, just going through that, I was able to, I guess, keep oxygen going to his brain. Long story short, that was just a real life-changing, life experience moment, miracle. That was the first miracle that I can visually remember, or that I visually experienced, that I visually or physically was a part of. And it's something that I've always been grateful for, something my dad always been grateful for, my mom, that's just that. It's like part of me feel like that was actually the beginning. You know what I'm saying? I was telling y'all, my mom and dad got divorced. I had to make a decision on a set of friends. But when I really think about it, that was the beginning of my life changing, and I think I was so grateful for that moment because, my father could have died. I could have not walked into that door in that moment. I could have not known CPR, even though the people on the phone can talk you through it, you know what I'm saying? It's just so many things about that day where I know God real, I knew that was God. And it's like, so it's like part of me was like, yeah, I gave him CPR, but I don't feel like I had nothing to do with it. But the more I learn about God and the more I sit with God and the more I build a relationship with God, I realize that he used me to help my dad. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I can only be grateful for that. And as my life started breaking down, you know, throughout the years after that, I think what I'm realizing is that God chose to show me a miracle first, you know? And it's like, it's crazy, like, and it makes me smile because it makes me even more grateful just thinking about it, that even came up, you know, in my thought process yesterday, because I kind of put that in the back burner of my mind. And now, even as I'm thinking about that, it's a whole nother story before that I could tell you guys. But yeah, it's like God chose to give me a miracle first, to show me he's real and what he can do and the impossible that he can do first. You know, like, he could have chose any other thing or any other way. He could have chose to take me through everything he took me through after, or him, the devil, you know, whatever. But I could have gone through all of that first and then been shown the miracle. It's just, you know, he decided to show me that first and then take me through all the other stuff, you know. And you know, part of me feel like all the stuff that I'm dealing with, like, that's basically mental, all of it kind of comes from grief when I think about it. But, you know, I don't know, they both tie in, so I can't really separate them. What I was gonna say is, you know, grief is almost easier to deal with than mental health. But honestly, the mental health, or you know the stuff you deal with mentally or internally, kind of comes from grief. And you know, there are many different forms of grief. And definitely take the time to look that up. Grief is not just dealing with losing somebody. You know, grief is losing yourself, like we've been talking about, you know, me losing myself or whatever. That's grief, you know what I'm saying? And I think we really just gotta, you know, be able to express that. And it's a lot of reasons why I even started this channel this week. You know, I was listening to my pastor and he was talking about delayed grief. I was like, wow, you know, because a lot of the deaths I had to deal with, I just dealt with it. I just understood that it happened. I just, you know, and it wasn't until later that I realized how it was affecting me, that it was affecting me at all, you know. You know, over time I realized people do grief journals, you know what I'm saying? Grief counseling. Grief is something that I don't even know how I got here, but y'all know this is not scripted. We just going with it, you know what I'm saying? Grief is something I feel that people should truly dissect. Even if you feel like, you know, you doing fine, but you've dealt with a death, but you lost somebody to something, but you don't feel the same, you know what I'm saying? I feel like everybody should dissect grief, what it is, how many forms it is, what you can do to deal with it. Yeah, man. Because even when my great grandmother passed, because I'm sure we're gonna come back to this, to me talking about her later. But when before she passed, because she was sick, before she passed, my mom and father was still going through a divorce. I was like, I just didn't feel, it's like I felt great, but I didn't feel right. So I knew I needed a counselor. I never, you know, I hear about counseling, I hear about therapy, all of that. But it's like when I was going through this stuff, I was like, I need counseling. I need to find me a therapist. And it's like, it was like the perfect thought process I could have ever had in that moment. Because I could have waited till it got bad. but I decided that I need to get ahead of this. You know, I'm stepping into a situation that I've never been in my life, and I don't want to lose it. I don't want to, you know, get outside of myself. You know what I'm saying? That's something that I've always talked about. Like, you know, I don't know who I am when it comes to this. You know, I don't know another version of what you see, and I don't want to know another. You know what I'm saying? Like, for real, like this is so serious. Like, that's where it comes down to choices. You know, that we talked about in previous videos. Like, when you have to make a decision, it's the hardest thing to do in life. You know, when you can do the easy thing, and doing the easy thing, it's not always the best thing. Doing the easy thing can leave you in situations that you can't get out of. And I think that taking the harder road, you know, will create an easier path. And I know that, I don't know if that sound right to y'all. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, but it's the truth. It's the truth. Like, it's simple as this example right here. You know, as fast as you get money is as fast as the money go. You know, literally, the faster you get it, the faster it go. I can't name a time that I've gotten money. I wish I had a good example. I can't name a time that I've gotten money fast and that it stayed a long time. That's just real. The faster money comes, the faster it go. But if you take your time, you earn it. You learn what paying bills looks like. You learn what taking care of yourself looks like. You learn what saving is like. You learn what tithing is like. Then you start to realize that money management is a real thing. Then you start to care about it. You know, like it's like it for the love of money is all evil, right? But when you really build a relationship with money and what it can do for you, right? This is not about loving it. It's about taking care of things that needs it, right? Or I really can't figure out how to put that into the best words, but I think you guys know where I'm going. Creating a relationship with money will allow you to appreciate the things that it can take care of, if that makes sense. Like I say, y'all, like I'm so delayed on being an adult, this is why I can really talk to y'all about this. Like, I didn't fully take care of anything until I was about 30, maybe 29, somewhere around there. But until I was about 30, I was completely good. I blew through money. I would work hard, earn money, but I would blow through it. I just didn't understand the value. You know what I'm saying? And that might be the better way to say it. Instead of creating a relationship, when you learn the value of money, you begin to appreciate why you have it and why it's there. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, when I really started